If you're over 60 and taking a D3 plus K2 combo pill because you've heard it's good for your bones, heart, and immunity, I want you to pause for a moment. You may be unknowingly harming your kidneys by taking that supplement. It sounds surprising, I know. After all, these two vitamins have been praised everywhere, from wellness blogs to doctors' offices, as the perfect pair for better calcium balance and stronger bones. But here's what many people don't realize. When combined in the wrong way, or taken without understanding how they work in your body, they can quietly create stress on your kidneys over time. A growing number of seniors have reported unexplained kidney issues after months or years of using these combo pills. They start with subtle signs: a little more fatigue than usual, dry mouth, waking up at night to urinate more often, or a feeling that something inside just feels off. Most people blame aging, but sometimes the real reason is right there in that daily capsule. So what's the connection between vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and kidney damage? The truth is, both of these vitamins play a powerful role in calcium metabolism, but the balance is delicate. When that balance tips too far, calcium can build up where it shouldn't, especially in the kidneys. Instead of strengthening your bones, that extra calcium may slowly harden your blood vessels or form deposits inside the very organs that are supposed to keep your blood clean. I've seen this pattern repeat many times in older adults who are simply trying to do the right thing for their health. They hear that D3 boosts calcium absorption and that K2 keeps it out of the arteries, so they take more, thinking more must be better. But in biology, more is rarely better. It's about precision, timing, and context. What helps one system can easily overload another. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this happens. We'll look at what D3 and K2 really do in your body, how their interaction can shift from helpful to harmful, and what the latest science tells us about using them safely. I'll share real medical cases that reveal how vitamin overload can silently damage your kidneys, and I'll give you clear, practical steps to protect yourself while still getting the benefits of these nutrients. By the end of this video, you'll understand the signs to watch for, the simple tests your doctor can run to make sure your levels are in a healthy range, and the correct way to combine or not combine these supplements, depending on your age, medications, and kidney function. And before we start, if you haven't subscribed yet, take a moment to do that now and click like so you don't miss any of my upcoming health videos. Together, we'll make sure your choices truly strengthen your body instead of putting hidden pressure on it. To understand why the D3 and K2 combination can turn from beneficial to harmful, we need to take a closer look at how vitamin D3 actually works inside your body. When you take a vitamin D3 supplement, or when your skin makes it from sunlight, it doesn't immediately become active. The first step happens in your liver, where it's converted into a form called 25-hydroxyvitamin D. Think of this as storage mode. Then your kidneys take over. They convert that stored vitamin D into its active form, called 1,25-dihydroxyvitamin D. That's the version your body actually uses to manage calcium, strengthen bones, and influence hundreds of other cellular processes. So in simple terms, your skin begins the process, your liver prepares it, and your kidneys finish it. This means your kidneys are not just passive filters, they're active participants in how vitamin D works. Every day, they help determine how much calcium gets absorbed, how much stays in the blood, and how much is sent out of your body. That's why vitamin D metabolism is so tightly connected to kidney health. Now, vitamin D3's main role is to promote calcium absorption in your intestines. It helps you pull calcium from your food and move it into your bloodstream. It also tells your bones to release calcium when your levels drop too low. In moderation, this is essential for muscle contraction, nerve communication, and maintaining strong bones. But when vitamin D3 levels rise too high, that balance breaks down. You start absorbing more calcium than your body can safely use. Instead of helping your bones, that excess calcium can circulate through your blood, looking for a place to go, and often it ends up where it doesn't belong. That's where vitamin K2 was supposed to help. Vitamin K2 plays the role of the traffic controller. It activates certain proteins, such as matrix GLA protein and osteocalcin, that guide calcium into your bones and teeth, while keeping it out of soft tissues like your arteries and kidneys. Without enough K2, calcium can't find its proper destination. It may settle in your blood vessels, your joints, or worse, inside your kidneys. Many people take K2 alongside D3 for this reason, and when done correctly, it can work beautifully. But if the ratio between them is off, or if your body's metabolism slows down with age, that fine balance can easily tilt in the wrong direction. High doses of D3 push calcium into your bloodstream faster than K2 can manage it. If you're deficient in K2 or your liver function isn't optimal, that extra calcium has nowhere to go. It starts forming deposits, tiny crystals that your kidneys now have to filter. Over time, those crystals can irritate and inflame kidney tissue, leading to a condition known as nephrocalcinosis. This is the hidden risk of the D3 and K2 synergy. The combination sounds perfect on paper, but in real life it depends on many factors. Your dosage, your diet, your hydration, your age, even your medications. Once calcium levels in the blood become too high, a condition called hypercalcemia, your kidneys are the first organs to take the hit. The kidneys work hard to remove excess calcium, but in doing so they become strained. Calcium can settle in the tiny tubes that carry urine, forming microscopic blockages. Over time, these blockages reduce your kidney's ability to filter waste efficiently. That's when symptoms begin to appear: muscle weakness, fatigue, confusion, and in more severe cases, kidney stones or decreased kidney function. The kidneys are remarkable organs. Each one contains nearly 1 million filtering units called nephrons. Their job is to remove toxins, regulate minerals, and balance electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium. They rely on a delicate flow of blood and filtration pressure to do their work. When calcium begins to accumulate inside them, that precision system gets disrupted. The filters can stiffen, the small blood vessels can narrow, fluid balance becomes harder to control. What started as a small imbalance in vitamins can gradually turn into a mechanical problem deep within your kidneys. People over 60 are particularly vulnerable. As we age, kidney function naturally declines. The body becomes less efficient at excreting calcium and balancing electrolytes. Add medications like diuretics or proton pump inhibitors, which are commonly prescribed at this age, and the strain grows even greater. The kidneys end up doing double duty. They are trying to process supplements while also managing the side effects of daily prescriptions. That's why even though D3 and K2 are both essential nutrients, the context matters more than the capsule. Your kidneys, not your bones, are the real regulators of vitamin D's final step. When they're forced to handle too much calcium or an imbalanced supplement routine, they pay the price quietly at first and then more noticeably over time. Understanding this foundation helps us see why some people develop kidney issues even when they think they're taking healthy vitamins. It's not about good or bad supplements, it's about how your body can handle them. In the next section, we'll look at what happens when that balance tips too far, and why something as simple as your diet, hydration, or timing can make the difference between support and strain. Let's take a look at what happens when the balance between vitamin D3, K2, and calcium goes wrong in real life. Over the past few years, doctors have started to see more and more patients, especially older adults, showing up with signs of kidney stress or even kidney failure after taking high doses of vitamin D3 for long periods. One case published by Healthline involved a man in his 60s who had been taking between 8,000 and 12,000 international units of vitamin D every day for months. He believed he was doing everything right for his bones, but one day he began feeling unusually tired, nauseated, and noticed that his urine output had increased. When doctors ran his blood tests, they found dangerously high levels of calcium and severely reduced kidney function. It took weeks of medical care and hydration therapy to stabilize him, and even then, his kidneys never fully returned to normal. This is not an isolated case. The Mayo Clinic has reported several examples of vitamin D toxicity leading to hypercalcemia, a condition where calcium levels in the blood rise beyond what the body can regulate. When that happens, calcium can precipitate out of the bloodstream and form crystals inside the kidneys. Over time, these deposits harden, causing inflammation and scarring. Some patients require hospitalization for dehydration and electrolyte imbalance, and in severe cases, permanent kidney damage. Most people never suspect vitamins could be the cause. They think kidney problems come only from diabetes or high blood pressure. But when you look at the pattern, it becomes clear. Excessive vitamin D intake, especially without medical monitoring, quietly builds calcium overload that the kidneys cannot handle. It doesn't happen overnight. It develops slowly, one capsule at a time, until the body's filtering system begins to break down. The early warning signs are often subtle. You might start urinating more frequently, especially at night. You might feel thirsty all the time or experience nausea after meals. Some people report bone or muscle aches that don't quite make sense, or an odd sense of weakness even when their blood sugar and blood pressure look fine. These are early signals that calcium may be circulating too freely or that the kidneys are struggling to clear it. When doctors evaluate these cases, they rely on specific biomarkers to detect what's happening beneath the surface. Creatinine and blood urea nitrogen, often called BUN, are two key markers that reveal how well your kidneys are filtering waste. Elevated levels indicate that the kidneys are under stress. Calcium levels in the blood tell another part of the story. When total or ionized calcium is higher than normal, it means the regulation system is off balance. At the same time, measuring parathyroid hormone, or PTH, helps determine whether the body is compensating correctly. And when doctors check both 25-hydroxyvitamin D and 1,25-dihydroxyvitamin D, they can see whether the body is overactivating vitamin D pathways that drive more calcium into circulation. Imaging tests can confirm the physical effects. Ultrasound or CT scans sometimes reveal tiny white spots in the kidney tissue, small accumulations of calcium that shouldn't be there. These are early stages of nephrocalcinosis, and they often go unnoticed until symptoms worsen. By that time, the damage may already be progressing toward fibrosis, where healthy tissue is replaced by stiff, non-functional scar tissue. So how does this damage actually happen? It begins with microscopic calcium deposits forming in the spaces between kidney cells. Each kidney is filled with millions of small filtering units that depend on free flow and clean membranes to do their work. When calcium builds up along these pathways, it reduces blood flow and clogs the filters. The delicate balance of electrolytes becomes disrupted. As the small vessels constrict and blood perfusion decreases, less oxygen reaches the kidney tissue. That sets off inflammation, which attracts immune cells and further accelerates scarring. The indirect effects make things worse. High calcium levels can cause dehydration by pulling water into the intestines and increasing urination. As the body loses fluid, the kidneys have to work harder to filter concentrated blood, raising the internal pressure inside those tiny filtering units. It's like running an engine with low oil. The parts start to grind, heat builds up, and over time, performance declines. Once enough damage accumulates, chronic kidney disease can follow. Certain groups are at much higher risk. Age is the first factor. After 60, kidney function naturally declines by about 1% each year. That means even small imbalances can have a bigger impact. People who already have kidney disease, high blood pressure, or diabetes are particularly vulnerable because their kidneys are already working at a reduced capacity. Those who take multiple supplements without coordination also face higher risk. It's common for someone to take a multivitamin that already contains vitamin D plus a D3 and K2 combo pill, and perhaps even calcium tablets. The combined dose can easily exceed what the body can safely handle, especially if it's taken daily for months. There's also a group of people with metabolic conditions that alter how their bodies process calcium. Thyroid or parathyroid disorders, for example, can amplify the effects of vitamin D. Certain medications, such as thiazide diuretics or lithium, can raise calcium levels further. And people taking proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux or heartburn may already have impaired magnesium absorption, which indirectly worsens calcium imbalance and kidney stress. When you put all these pieces together, the picture becomes clear. It's not that vitamin D3 and K2 are bad, it's that they are powerful. And when something is powerful, it demands respect and precision. For older adults, especially those with even mild kidney concerns, this combination needs to be used with awareness, not routine. What starts as a small daily dose for bone health can, without guidance, turn into a steady drip of stress on the kidneys. In a moment, we'll look at what you can do to use these supplements safely, how to test your levels, and how to make small adjustments that protect your kidneys while still supporting your bones and heart. Because, as you'll see, safety is not about giving up on vitamins. It's about giving your body the conditions to use them wisely. Now that we understand how vitamin D3 and K2 can sometimes create problems, let's talk about how to use them safely, because the truth is both of these nutrients are important. They support strong bones, healthy arteries, balanced hormones, and even better immune function. The key is not to stop taking them out of fear, but to use them with wisdom and precision. Let's start with vitamin D3. According to research from the Mayo Clinic and Healthline, the general upper limit for adults is about 4,000 international units per day. For most people, that's enough to keep vitamin D levels in the optimal range without raising calcium too high. Some individuals, particularly those who live in northern states with long winters or spend most of their time indoors, may need a bit more. But that should only be done under medical supervision with periodic blood testing. If your doctor has measured your 25-hydroxy vitamin D level, that number should ideally stay between 30 and 50 nanograms per milliliter. Going above 70 or 80 doesn't make you healthier. It just increases the risk that calcium will build up where it shouldn't. I've seen patients whose levels climbed above 100 simply because they were taking multiple supplements without realizing how much overlap there was. Their intentions were good, but their bodies paid the price. When it comes to vitamin K2, most studies suggest that a dose between 90 and 120 micrograms per day is sufficient for adults. Forms like MK7 are longer lasting and easier to absorb. You don't need large amounts to get the benefit. What matters most is consistency. Taking it daily allows those calcium-regulating proteins to stay activated. If you're using a D3 and K2 combo pill, make sure the ratio is appropriate. Many high-dose products on the market are not balanced. Some provide 5 or 10,000 units of D3, but only a trace of K2. That's like turning on the faucet without making sure the drain is open. The calcium floods in but has nowhere to go. Look for formulas where K2 is properly matched to D3, and remember that quality matters. Third-party testing or products made by reputable medical-grade companies are worth the investment when it comes to your kidneys and heart. There are also situations where it's better not to combine them. If you already have kidney disease, high blood calcium, or you take medications that affect vitamin K, such as warfarin or other blood thinners, you should not use a D3 and K2 supplement without medical clearance. Even though these are vitamins, they act like hormones in your body and can interfere with medication safety. In such cases, your doctor may recommend taking D3 alone at a lower dose or focusing on dietary sources of K2 instead of supplements. Sometimes it's better to take them separately, depending on your diet and medication schedule. For example, if you already get K2 from foods like eggs, cheese, or fermented products, you may not need an additional K2 supplement every day. In contrast, someone who eats very little animal fat might benefit from small daily doses. The best approach is individualized, not one size fits all. Monitoring your levels is one of the smartest things you can do. I tell my patients to check their vitamin D levels at least twice a year, ideally in winter and late summer. Ask for both 25-hydroxyvitamin D and calcium on your blood panel. Creatinine and BUN should also be checked to assess kidney function. If any of those numbers drift upward, that's your body's way of asking for an adjustment. If something feels off, such as persistent thirst, nausea, muscle weakness, or an unusual increase in urination, stop taking the supplement temporarily and talk to your doctor. In some cases, imaging studies such as an ultrasound or CT scan can detect early calcium deposits before they become serious. Remember, prevention always costs less than treatment. For those who prefer a gentler approach, there are excellent natural ways to maintain healthy vitamin D and K levels without relying heavily on pills. Sunlight remains one of the best sources of vitamin D. About 15 to 20 minutes of midday sun on your arms and face a few times a week can keep your levels stable, especially during spring and summer. In winter months, you can lean on foods like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and fortified dairy products. Vitamin K2 is found naturally in foods like egg yolks, aged cheeses, and a traditional Japanese dish called natto made from fermented soybeans. Leafy greens like spinach and kale are rich in vitamin K1, which your body can partially convert to K2. By combining these foods with a balanced diet and adequate hydration, you can give your body everything it needs without overwhelming your kidneys. And don't forget hydration. Your kidneys depend on water to flush excess minerals and keep blood flowing smoothly. As a rule of thumb, aim for 6 to 8 cups of water per day, more if you live in a warm climate or are physically active. If you drink coffee or alcohol, balance each serving with a full glass of water afterward. This simple habit protects your kidneys more than most people realize. The last piece of advice is to avoid chasing quick results. Vitamins take time to build their effects. Think in terms of months, not days. When you give your body steady, moderate support, it responds beautifully. When you overload it, even the best intentions can backfire. In the next and final part of this talk, we'll bring everything together, the practical daily rhythm that helps you get the most from your vitamins while keeping your kidneys strong and your energy steady. Because the goal is not just to take supplements, but to create a lifestyle where your body and your choices work in harmony. So let's bring this all together. The combination of vitamin D3 and K2 can be incredibly beneficial when used correctly, but it can also become risky when used carelessly, especially for your kidneys. These two vitamins are powerful tools, but like any tool, they have to be handled with respect. Too much D3 pushes calcium into the bloodstream, and without enough K2 or proper kidney function, that calcium may settle in the wrong places. Over time, it can create silent stress on your kidneys, the very organs that activate vitamin D in the first place. You've seen how this happens in real life. We talked about real cases of people taking high doses of vitamin D, sometimes 8 or 12,000 international units a day, and ending up with calcium overload and kidney injury. We've also discussed how simple habits like inconsistent timing, lack of hydration, or combining multiple supplements can quietly build that stress over time. The mechanism is clear. When calcium gets out of balance, it starts to harden soft tissue, narrow small blood vessels, and make the kidneys work harder than they should. But the good news is that it's completely preventable. By following safe dosage guidelines, keeping your D3 intake under 4,000 international units unless prescribed otherwise, balancing it with adequate K2, and getting regular blood tests, you can enjoy all the benefits without the risks. If you're over 60 or have any history of kidney problems, talk to your doctor before starting or continuing any supplement.